pouring rain, sometimes hail, while knocking in the pitch black. It was really cold. It would be like almost snow, but not quite, and so you'd just be soaking wet. I was training a greenie. We walked up to this house. I think we made them mad. It was out in the boonies. We couldn't find the front door, so we walked around to try and find a door in general. And we tried, we realized it was the back door, and they were sliding glass doors. So we didn't want to knock on that because that's very intrusive. So we saw them, we're like, no. So we walked back around to find the front door. It was behind a bunch of ivy and stuff. And so we crawled our way through it and knocked on the front door. And as we're standing there, I hear this like, and I look over and I was like, she was like, is that a gunshot? And I was like, I don't know. I couldn't tell. Get off our property! Yeah, that was a gunshot. We gotta go. It was like right around the corner too. I mean, couldn't have been more than 20 feet away, and you could tell it was the ones with the two, I don't know what they're called, but there was 2 bullets coming at us. And so they didn't shoot at us, but they were, yeah, that was kind of scary. So she's like, what do we do? What do we do? And I was like, just walk away. Don't look back. Don't talk to him. We'll just walk. That was pretty terrifying. And yeah, so I think we had made them mad because they thought we were trying to intrude when we went around back and then disappeared. So they were just trying to wave us off, but that was pretty terrifying. I learned that God does give us more than we can handle. So I hate that saying that God doesn't give us more than we can handle. I learned that he does. But I firmly believe he does that because we need to learn how to use the Savior. And if nothing else, I learned how to use the Savior on my mission, and knowing that I can use him now. I found out I had anxiety on the mission, and I found that out because every time we knocked 5 to 7s, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock at night, I threw up the whole time. 5 to 10 times every night. We would eat dinner at 4 and then go directly to knocking. And I realized it about 3 weeks in. My stomach hurt all the time. And I thought I was just adjusting, and I thought it would go away, and it never went away. I had it my whole mission. Thankfully, I got to do counseling. I highly recommend that for anyone who gets out there and finds it's a lot harder than they expected. But I did throw up every single day of my mission. And I got home and I got to get help for that. But I was just really grateful that even though it was a huge trial and I hated it, it was awful, I'm grateful I worked through it anyways. You know, I could have gone home quite a few times, and I chose not to because I just felt like I wasn't done. And so even though that meant putting myself through it every single day, I really don't think it was about me. Well, I knew it wasn't about me, so that was pretty cool. So Washington is famous for teriyaki. They just have teriyaki on every corner, and I loved it. Every single, probably once a week at least, we would find a new teriyaki chain in our area. And we'd get teriyaki, and I got the chicken teriyaki and gyoza and rice, and it just satisfied in a way that nothing else really did. So. Someone in our ward, a member in our ward, and she was having a really hard time with family things, and with good reason. She was going through a lot, and someone else in the ward had a dream about her, and when we went to see her, she told us about this dream and how she was in the back of a state conference. She was in the back seat, and someone walked in And it was a state conference, so there was hundreds and hundreds of people there, and they were all twittering and getting excited, and she realized that it was Christ who had just walked in. And these bishops and stake presidents were walking up to him wanting to shake his hand, and he was like, hold on just a minute, and walked past everyone to go back to her. And he grabbed her hand and he thanked her, and then turned around and talked to other people. And that always hit me really hard, is the people who feel like they're not getting any attention for the work they're doing, that I think that the Lord is the most grateful for. And so I always loved that story. It was just so good. So we had Elder Baxter come to our Bremerton State Conference, and oh, he's a wonderful, beautiful man. Oh, I loved him so much. He is from Scotland, and after state conference, we all went into a separate room with him, and he told us about how, I think he was about 9 years old when missionaries knocked on his door, and he talked about how it was pouring rain, like just awful pouring, like way worse than Washington. I can't even imagine that. Pouring rain, and these two missionaries came in, and his mom didn't want to talk to them, but she let them in because it was pouring so hard. And they would not, she said, don't talk to me about your message, but I will like give you a warm fire, and I want you to warm up. And so they were quiet, and then after a few minutes they were like, but also this is like what our church teaches. And she's like, no, I don't want to hear it. And they were like, okay, and they went quiet again. And I guess he's sitting there watching it all, and they get quiet again, and then they drink some of the warm milk that she gives them, and then they start again. Well, but we also say, and she's like, no, I don't want to hear it. And then she asks them a question. She said, okay, I will let you teach me a lesson if you can answer this one question for me. What happened to my baby that died when he was born? I think it might have even been twins. And she said that the preacher had told her that the babies were in limbo, and because they weren't baptized before they passed away. And those missionaries knew exactly the answer. And so he said that because of that, they got taught the lessons. And his mom was baptized, and he was baptized, and he was like, I don't know that those missionaries who knocked on my door know that I'm a general authority. I don't know that they know that. And so you need to know that you might be teaching a 9-year-old boy someday, and that his life is going to be completely different because you knocked in that really hard storm, and you persisted even when you were told to keep your mouth shut. And he said that's the most important thing, and you have no idea how many people's lives can change. You know, his family, his wife, his children, all of that came to pass because these two missionaries were willing to do what they were supposed to do. And it was a very life-changing story, the way you view your mission after that. So, yeah. Deer, I think. That was it. I heard about cougars. I heard there were cougars, but I never heard or saw one. So obviously raccoons, those are an issue. But you will, Washington, this is not wildlife. Everyone has a cat or a dog. And so you just have to get a lint roller, because you will sit on couches and come up with just covered in fur. So invest in a lint roller. But everyone has a cat or dog. So if you're allergic, bring allergy medicine and just learn how to love them.